Hey folks, Gary Dean here with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. So, we've seen the Bears just come out swinging for 2 days in a row, and it feels like they're the ones that are getting absolutely slaughtered. We're finding these lows, and then it's just been like a nonstop bid. Even though the S&P closed down 64 points, it felt like it was the Bears got demolished. So it's kind of a strange thing. I didn't really expect this to happen 2 days in a row where we see a big, huge gap down and then see the indexes just go on an all-out buy for the rest of the day. We had a little bit of a pullback towards the end, but for the most part, I would say the panic is coming in overnight trading. Once the cash market's open, it seems like buyers have been stepping in. But this is the ES right here, and it's on a 2-hour chart because I want to show this anchor to this anchor, and you can see when we had the big gap down, it made it into the bottom part of the set of our primary, and if that would have been lost, then we were looking at then really the next targets coming in right at the 66.54, which is our Gann target, and then the 66.35. So they came in, they held it, it's in from there. Like I said, there was not a whole lot of selling on that, but this is kind of the crazy part. So now we take a look at this is a 15-minute chart, and again, what I'm using this anchor up here to this low here, and there was nonstop selling until we got right into our primary distribution zone, and from there we got a sell signal here, and we saw the ES dropped from 68.27 and it made a low down at 68.05. So this buy signal here we take it at the top of the candle here, but we're looking at 67.73 with a ride with a high up to 68.49. So those are some massive gains on it. And again, we knew where our support was, even though I wasn't sure if it was going to be holding. I was almost thinking that we were going to be coming down to the lower end of it, but it held, and then once we did that, we ran right into our resistance. So let's take a look at the Dow here, and on what we're looking at right now is our pivots. This is a short-term chart. It's only a 5-minute chart. So we want to know if we do get some backing and filling tomorrow or we get some selling. This is our anchor from here to here, and you can see our support zones coming in at 67.75, 67.60, and then we have our secondary at the 67.38. So those are the areas we have to watch. They've really just been opening up down at these levels, and then, like I said, it's been buying the whole day after. So those are our support levels. We have some bearish divergences, so this little pullback here did make some sense. Taking a look at the 15-minute chart, now this is our resistance that we have to watch for. And again, the S&P ran from the 67.13. We got a buy signal here because this is a 15-minute chart, and we had to wait for our indicator to trigger. And from here, we even if you took it from here, it's 67.88 all the way up to 68.31. So I mean, if you're just looking at trading, if you bought 5 contracts on the S&P, I mean, that's a pretty nice gain right there if you bought the calls. So we have it worked. We don't have any buy signals, so we don't have any sell signals, so our indicator's still on a buy, but I'm a little concerned with the little bit of a bearish divergence that we got, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the S&P making it up to the 68, 62. I think a lot of it really just depends on how are we going to open up? Are we going to open up another 100 points down, or are we going to finally see some buyers step in overnight trading? So resistance area here came right up. This is where sellers stepped in, and we pulled away from it. So if they get above it, this would be a pretty good shorting area right here, unless they go right over it. But right at this 68.61, we do have a moving average, and that's the top of our distribution zone. And these are the types of setups that you look, and you'd really like to see maximum duration with our indicator, which would have it going up a little bit further than that. So nothing really to say there. And again, now we're looking at the 60-minute chart, And if we just look at our anchors here, we're going from our low to our high, and we made it through our primary accumulation zone, and then we came down to our Gann target, and not really our second, well, basically our secondary. And from there, just kind of had all out buying, and it's we're getting into where we have full duration. So if the bulls can step in, right now we're only 200 points off the highs. It feels like we've been crashing, but still we're 200 points off the highs. There's nothing really, I don't think, to be all that worried about. Even though the geopolitical issues, I'm not going to lie to you, that's something that we do have to keep an eye on. So the good news is we actually have this is our trading view chart, and I'm very happy to say that we have our indicators on them. They look a little bit different. The coding is always a little bit off from what it is on Thinkorswim. But it's on here, and we're going to be keep doing updates, and whatever updates we do, you'll get those you'll get those for free. But in any case, so I traded IWM terribly today, and it had nothing to do with the software at all. This was all me. You can see that we had full duration with our indicator here. What just keeps going up there? Where we had a lot of room up. We got the buy signal. I chickened out of the buy signal because I just wasn't sure if we were going to get a little spike up and then come back down, because things were pretty nuts in the morning. But in any case, it was a perfect signal. And if you would have, again, bought 10 contracts on IWM, the premiums were high. That's why I didn't want to trade them in the morning. But I mean, heck, if you bought the 256s for $1.25, you made a fortune on that. So, any case, we got our first sell signal up here, and we don't have really full duration. It's close though. It has some room to go. But in any case, so we got a buy and a sell. That's pretty amazing. And look where it was. The sell signal came as we made it through our primary, and I thought it was coming up to the secondary, but excuse me, the problem that I did with IWM today was I was following the wrong chart, because it should have been just a 5-minute chart, and that's all you had to do. You really didn't have to look until it went on a sell. What I was doing is I was on the 1-minute chart, because we did so well with that yesterday, just taking the little scalp trades, and we really could have done the same, but this is what happened. So I was not going near shorting with the IWM having the 5-minute having full duration here. So I waited until we were bouncing around. We had, bearish divergences. We got a sell signal, and this is actually, I didn't even get, the first short trade I took was right here when we got this signal. And you can see it went from 258.56 all the way down to 257. So it was a great trade, but I thought it was going lower on that to test these levels, and it ended up going up, and then I missed this down trade. I just didn't really believe that we were going to just have this grind higher move today. I thought we were going to have one of those just where it's a sell into support. It's just at least test it. But once we made these lows, we saw IWM, just every little pullback they had was bid back up, and you could see it. We never made a lower low. So IWM is, that was strong today. If we take a look at a longer term, where we're talking about our anchor here and our anchor here, actually I went from here to here, and you can see this is our support zone right there, and that's what we got to keep an eye on right now. And then if the bulls can manage to get above these levels here, we have our secondary distribution zone up there, and then we have the gap that has to close. So we really don't have any clear buy or sell signals, so it's really hard to say what's going to go on. This geopolitical stuff is really hard to trade, but I mean, it was easy if you just followed it and I didn't mess things up. But in any case, it happens. You're going to get days that you follow the indicator perfectly and you take your little scalp trades, but then when you think something's going lower, you end up underwater, and it was really a terrible trade. But yes, so I'm happy to say we have our institutional pivot matrix that is now on TradingView, and like I said, we're doing some tweaks here and there, but overall you'll get those. That we'll just send those out. So with that, have a great night, and I will talk to you guys in the morning.